Okay, today we are going to learn about Henry Herbert Goddard, and he received his BA at Haverford College in Pennsylvania in 1887. He got his PhD in psychology at Clark University in Worcester, Massachusetts in 1899. He was influenced by Galton. One of the things about him, he helped draft the first American law mandating special education in 1911. Class?
Yes.
Can you turn to your partner and tell them what you just learned about? Sure. Teach.
Okay. Pennsylvania, psychology.
Yeah, but I don't know.
No worries.
And he helped draft our director's first law mandating special ed in 1911.
Class?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to go on to the intelligence part of his life. He is known as the father of intelligence testing in the United States. Between 1908 and 1918, Goddard translated the Benai-Simon intelligence scale into English and distributed 22,000 copies for the use in the USA in public schools. Once he translated the test, he began using it with the mentally retarded children that he was working with in the New Jersey Institute called the Training for Feeble-Minded Girls and Boys. He was focused on preventing the breeding of feeble-minded people, and he believed that sterilization would solve the American problem and should be kept humanly in institutions. He also believed that feeble-mindedness was caused by the transmission of a single recessive gene. Class?
Yes.
Can you turn to your partner and tell them 2 things you learned about just right now? Teach.
Okay.
The translation's Benai test. We believed on keeping the feeble-minded institutions
because it was solving our
And I believe it's called by a single recessive gene. That's pretty bold. Good science.
progenitors of Planned Parenthood.
Class?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to go on. He was involved with Ellis Island and the screening process when people would come through Ellis Island. In 1882, there was a law passed by the United States Congress prohibiting mentally defective people from passing through Ellis Island's checkpoints. But they determined that it was difficult to keep track of this and to enforce this law. So Goddard decided he would come up with a plan. So he decided he wanted to investigate how to screen the people a lot more thoroughly so that more feeble-minded people were not passing through. In 1912, he returned to Ellis Island with 2 assistants, 2 specially trained assistants, and they developed a 2-step process. First step, the first assistant would have those people come through the screening process, and the individuals that they determined were feeble-minded or mentally handicapped, doing that stuff, they were pulled aside and sent to the second assistant for more testing to determine what type of background they had. Goddard believed that the trained inspectors would be more accurate than the Ellis Island physicians. And actually, the number of immigrants who were deported increased as a result of those screening measures. Class?
Yes.
Would you turn to your partner and tell them one other thing about Ellis Island? Teach.
Okay.
So,
very systematically.
you
You kind of wonder if he spoke their language.
He came up with a screen now. And so it's a two-step process. So the first one is they go to the first assistant, and then if they need to go to the second one, they do. And like a large number of immigrants were working with that.
Okay, so for my feedback, if number one, would you list 2 interesting facts about Goddard that you learned? And number 2, would you let me know if I talk slow enough?
Question?
List 2 interesting facts about Goddard.
Can I ask you?
Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
Did, when he screened these immigrants,
Mm-hmm.
or his assistant did,
Mm-hmm.
were they speaking the immigrants' native language, or was it in English?
Didn't actually say anything about what language they were speaking when they were doing the screening process. It just said that they...
So the more Slavic the language, probably the stupider they were.
Quite possibly, yes. Yeah, it didn't say anything about what language he was speaking while the screening process. It just said that
And did you speak louder if they couldn't understand?
I'm guessing because